We've lost it already. This show has just started and we've completely lost our composure already. Welcome,
20
everyone.
seconds in.
I know. No, 11, 12 seconds now. 11. We lost it instantly. Hello, football fans. Welcome to the Our Turf Football Podcast. I am your host, Dana O'Gorman. We have all of us. All four of us are here today. We got Kate. We got Sonia. We got Lisa. We are all here for your football.
4 horsewomen are in there.
Oh, I didn't hear what she said.
Building.
Lisa, I'm sorry. You froze just a little bit, Lisa. I'm not sure what she said.
I said the 4 horsemen are in the building.
Oh, that's right.
It's a
Absolutely.
wrestling term,
Absolutely we are.
Yes.
Let me tell you guys, today was exhausting because of all the... Do you remember that we just said we didn't think there'd be much going on trade-wise? Do you remember our brilliance in that? Thinking... Holy cow, could we have been more wrong? It was busy day in the NFL, and it was a lot of fun to watch. So I'm very excited to be able to sit down and chit-chat with you guys about that today. We're going to talk about the Detroit Lions tonight. We're going to try and break down what's going on with that team because it is a little confusing. And then we're going to talk about the NFC West and South, and we're going to talk about those two divisions because people, they are up for grabs. Those are the two divisions that I have no idea who's going to win them. And we're going to break that all down. Plus, forgot to grab the hat. What? All right. Well, I want to start. I'll go get the hat. I'll go get it right now. I promise we're going to do it from the hat tonight because we have got to get caught up on those teams for sure. So, all right. We want to thank everyone for joining us and tuning in with us this Tuesday evening. Kate, you had a good night last night.
We call this Victory Tuesday.
Maybe that's the key. The Browns need to play on Mondays to win. Maybe that's what it is.
I don't know what it is. We had our trick or treat last night, so I'm sitting outside with my husband. We set a table at the end of the driveway, right? And he gives beers and shots to the parents, and I give him candy. And one of the neighbors across the street screams over, "Kate, what's your prediction on the score tonight?" And I yelled back, 31-10. And she said, "Who?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Like, it literally could have gone either way. Either the Bengals coming off that Super Bowl and last season just completely wiped the floor with my team that was on like a 4-game losing skid, or what happened, which is Joe Burrow is winless against the Browns. He's 0-4. There's something in the Bengals' heads. They can't get by the Browns no matter how bad we are. We look really good when we play them. So it was a Victory Tuesday. I'll take it. But don't expect us to make a run. People are already saying, Kareem Hunt's off the trade block. They're going to make a run for the division. I'm like, no, the Ravens are making a run for the division because they picked up Roquan Smith.
Oh, my God, did they? We're going to talk about
making
those
a
trades.
Run for the division.
Those are some fun trades. There was a lot going on in that division today, trade-wise. Sonia, how was your trick-or-treating with your family?
Oh, pardon me. The little children from Arkansas have given me a cold, but overall it was good. I watched the Bengals and the Browns, and it was a good game. Awesome. I was excited because, I was like, there's scoring. There's actual scoring instead, and plus it was another divisional rival game, and I love those. So, yeah, it was good, though. It was very good.
Lisa, you're in the country. Did you have to go into town to trick or treat?
I did have to go into town. That was a struggle trying to find places to go. Let me tell you, it was funny. So I ended up calling my brother, and I'm like, "Listen, you got any trick or treaters?" He's like, "We haven't had." Yeah, I said, "Okay, we're coming over."
That's awesome.
So we dressed the kids up, and they went over and knocked on his door, and finally got some trick or treat, or it's called Halloween to my 2-year-old granddaughter. It's Halloween. It's not trick or treats. We're going Halloweening. I'm like, okay.
Oh, okay.
I
like
that. Yeah, so we did. We went and had a nice
evening. Well, I'm telling you, I went through 5 large bags of candies in about 45 minutes last night. That's how busy my neighborhood was. And I had to shut my light off because I was out. So it was good. I hope everyone had a good Halloween. Obviously, Kate did because she had a great time with her win. So let's go ahead and talk about what happened today. Today was a little nutty trade-wise. The NFL, of course, the NFL trade deadline was today. We had just talked about, like I mentioned before, that we didn't really think that there was going to be much going on trade-wise. And I will tell you, I mean, it wasn't the biggest year trade-wise, but it definitely, there was a lot of trades that were going on. If you just look over the transactions just from today, it's a huge list. I mean, we have Naheem Hines, Chase Claypool, TJ Hawkinson, Roquan Smith's trade went through today, even though we knew about that before. Jake Martin, Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley.
Right?
You
He's
guys.
still suspended, right?
Yeah, he can't play the whole rest of the year, which is fascinating. Then we have Chase Edmonds, the Bradley Chubb trade. That one is the big one. We're going to talk about that. Zach Moss, Rashad Fenton went from the Chiefs to the Falcons. William Jackson left the Commanders, went to the Steelers. AJ Klein, Jeff Wilson, Dean Marlowe. So that was just today. Now we also know that there's been a few others over the last few days, but let's go ahead and talk about some of these bigger trades a little bit. Probably the most surprising to me, particularly because of the teams that involved, was the TJ Hawkinson trade. So TJ Hawkinson went from the Lions to the Vikings in division. How often do you see that in division, right? From the Lions to the Vikings. So the Lions get let's see, what do they get? A 2023 second and a 24 third. The Vikings got Hawkinson and a 23 and 24 fourth. The fourth is a conditional in 2024. Sonia, excuse me. I have to start with you. Why in division? What is going on there? What make that make sense for me?
I can't make it make sense. Everybody that I've seen today
no,
on
if
Twitter,
I know.
Right? Seriously, everybody that I've seen on Twitter today is like, we have to get rid of that old mentality that you can't trade to a division rival. Like, I mean, okay, I guess I get it, but I mean, yeah, the Vikings are poised to make a run, and this is going to be their last little piece that hopefully gets them over the edge, I guess is what they're thinking. But I don't understand. I mean, I guess I'm still kind of old school with it. You don't trade to a division rival.
Right.
And it's just like for a couple picks too. You know what I'm saying? So it's not even like we get anything great in return back. Now, maybe they use those picks to stockpile and do something else. Maybe this really kind of screams, you know what, we're kind of done for this year. We're going to, focus on the future, get more picks. But I don't know. That's the only thing I can come up with. Other than that, I still don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me.
Lisa, what about you? How do you feel about in-division trades? It's
well,
just
we're the
traditionally
masters
not
of individual.
I know. That's why I'm asking you.
I mean, it's like it just. But every one of them seemed to come back and bite us. Like the Wes Welker years ago, that came back and really kicked our butts. The Devontae Parker one, however, I think you go in division if you're not scared of that player. Obviously, it's to me, it's. Devontae Parker, injury prone, couldn't stay on the field. Well, this last past, game against Jets, ankle or knee, he's probable to return is doubtful. And then Twitter just lit up and say, wow, see, that's, why. So obviously the Lions saw something that they obviously aren't scared of this guy. That, or I don't think it was the best scenario saying, oh, that's the best offer we got was from the Vikings. I'm sure there was other offers.
Maybe
to get him out of the division. And if you're that worried about him, that's the only thing I can kind of think of is obviously you're not worried.
Yeah.
Right.
So
that's a good point.
So whatever Dan Campbell saw in that, it's the little retooling things. It's always the little retooling things because of what you saw in the game. Because I don't think it's fair to the guy if you judge him off the Dolphin game because Tyreek Hill, I mean, that whole Dolphins offense is Tyreek Hill's fast. I'm sorry. That dude is just off the chain.
We'll get there. We're gonna talk about Tyreek Hill and a couple other Miami players a little bit later, while we're just rubbing into San Francisco just a little bit more. But I think you have a good point. It's like it depends on how you feel about the player. I think that's actually a really good way to look at it because when you do that, you're like, you know what, he is not going to be the difference maker for that team. You know what I mean? And then as I posted what Camden said, anything to beat the Packers. There were some fantastic memes out there today about people like, poor Aaron Rodgers is like, no. And it was this, that, and the other. It was hilarious. Especially for the Bears. It was really good. So I want to move on to the next one. Then Kate, I'm going to take this one to you because it's the Steelers. So Chase Claypool left the Steelers, went to the Bears, hence why Aaron Rodgers was sad in the meme. They got a second round pick for Chase Claypool. Do you see this looking at that division? This has to be the Steelers having a bit of a fire sale. They are retooling. They are starting over.
Absolutely. They're not going after a quarterback in the draft. They've got Kenny Pickett. I think they believe in him for the future, but they need an awful lot of stuff to get him. He needs some offensive line help. He needs some weapons. I was more surprised at the Bears being buyers for Claypool after getting rid of Roquan. Like after that game, when they just got their butts handed to them, I thought, okay, now they've decided they're not going to be good and they're going to get rid of everybody. And then I'm like, but then you just made a move to bring Chase Claypool in here. And I just found it all very puzzling. I don't know what's going on.
I wonder if that is, they're going to have half a year to build some rapport between Fields and Claypool. If they're like, yeah, we know, but this is the year they can kind of get to know each other. So maybe next year they'll have a little bit more.
That's valid.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing that really makes sense there. But it's about time. Justin Fields desperately needs some help there, and I think that this was a really good move.
He needs a whoopee.
He does. He needs a little security.
He needs his go-to receiver, and he hasn't found his guy yet. And Claypool's got all kinds of talent, so we'll see if it makes sense in that light that we're going to do a little more to shore up the offense and go after defense in the draft.
Right. For those of you who are listening over on Twitter, I know that there's a few of you. Please come on over to our YouTube channel. Check us out over here. You can join in our chat where we will post your thoughts and comments and questions live on the show. So if you're hanging out over there, come on over. It's a lot of fun. All right, I'm going to get to Bradley Chubb in just a minute. But I did forget donkeys, didn't I? Well, that's right. Hey, Sonia.
Well, we kind of plugged them. Sonia got her donkey shirt, but it wasn't from me.
It wasn't. So listen. Oh, look.
There you go.
All right. We want to thank Donkey's Place, obviously, for sponsoring us. And there is a joke behind that T-shirt because we all have them. We just haven't gotten them because Lisa's hoarded them for a year now. Okay. So anyway, thank you, Donkey's, very much.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, Sonia went out and bought her own.
I know. She sure did. I want to talk about Calvin Ridley for just a minute. So he went from Atlanta to Jacksonville. And the last I read, they were still working on terms, that there has to be some messing with it a little bit because of obviously he is suspended this year for a ridiculous reason, but that's my opinion. And so they are working for him to go next year. He will go to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think that this is probably the best thing for Calvin Ridley. I think new scenery, a new place for him will be a good restart for him. So, I don't know. You have to be pretty happy about that, I would think. And that's
I have a question.
Huh? You got it.
I have a question. How is the physical thing going to work? Because trades. You see trades pending physical. Is he allowed to go get a physical, an NFL physical? I'm kind of confused. I was watching the trade, and nobody hit on that. I was like, okay, is he allowed to? I mean,
I know sometimes they're allowed to be in facility. They can't be in meetings.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they can be in facility to maybe to
I was just kind of wondering what the terms were.
That's a really good question, Lisa. I don't know.
Well, and he doesn't have to be at his team's facility to have a physical. Jacksonville could have him go take a physical off-site somewhere, and
that's fair.
It really just limits his access to his team that he's on, not any other team in the NFL.
So he's still allowed to go to like the facility and work out and stuff like that?
It depends on the terms of his suspension. Yeah. I think it would just depend.
I was just wondering how that was going to work.
So
I can only speak to Watson, I was going to say, and Watson's allowed back in the Browns facility 3 weeks before his suspension's up. And he's allowed he can't practice, but he can start attending meetings and work out at the facility. So there's some buffer there.
So Graham put this on Twitter, and I told him to stop it. Graham. Yes. So he said, as I said on Twitter,
jersey
is Ridley. I don't know. Is Ridley going to bet when his suspension will end?
Matt
that
Moore,
is just not
I
nice.
believe.
So anyway, it was very funny. Nicely done. Nicely done. All right. Then Jacob Martin, we had some other big ones, but let's talk about the Bradley Chubb trade. So we kind of knew that the rumors that this was going to happen. We had heard that Denver was shopping not only Bradley Chubb, but also Jerry Jeudy, that there were conversations about all of that going on. Two folds to this. And I will tell you, both of them greatly helped the Seattle Seahawks. So that's my spin on this right now. So first of all, we want to congratulate the San Francisco 49ers for giving the Miami Dolphins Tyreek Hill, Bradley Chubb, and Jalen Waddle. Those were your 3 first-round picks that your San Francisco 49ers sent to them to get their picks so they could get Trey Lance, their quarterback who doesn't play. And this is what... Congratulations, San Francisco. That doesn't hurt me at all. Not going to lie. Not at all. The second aspect is what is going on in Denver now. This is one of the best players they had on their team. They traded him out. And so how that helps Seattle is that draft pick that the Seahawks got for Russell Wilson just kind of creeps up higher and higher and higher. So interesting though, from the Miami aspect, Lisa, do you think this means Miami is going all in on this year? Because he's not going to be cheap. Yeah,
no doubt. There's no doubt. And you looked at these trades too, and it was funny is so many of them. And I even said that to you guys. I was like, I was shocked when I got up, and my Twitter was like, like, what the hell happened? I mean, within like 7 hours I was sleeping today, it was like, bam. And you could see the teams that were obviously rebuilding. Let's throw Denver in there, obviously, with the Chubb, because you said like Jerry Jeudy was on the market, Chubb was on there. Clearly, Miami is going all in. San Francisco is going all in. They knocked it out of the park with McCaffrey trade. This weekend showed, man, that kid. So
as long as he can stay on the field, anyway.
Yeah, who plugged and stuff like that. But when you looked at, and I'll use the Detroit game. One of the things was the last couple games. Actually, I'm going to lose. We just had no pass rush. It was just incredible. I mean, and it was 20. Well, it was 21-7 in the first quarter. I mean, we were getting. I mean, Goff had all day back there. It was crazy, and so that was definitely the thing that's missing from this Miami Dolphins team was a pass rush, and everybody was screaming for it. So yesterday, when the rumors broke, and they were pretty solid. Some of the rumors coming out was like you knew Miami was in it to win it. So. Especially with retooling with Hill and getting that and Waddle. So they're definitely one of the teams that are just looking for the pieces now to make that run at the Buffalo Bills and the AFC East.
That's an up. So this one. Our listeners are funny people. That's all there's to it. So Candace has a real lance in the eye.
There's some witty people going on. I still want to know what the number 8 jersey is.
So the Dolphins also picked up Jeff Wilson today, running back from the San Francisco 49ers.
That's going to be a special teams play.
Yeah, that would be really good.
Right there.
Really, they're the only team that got multiple players. That's not true. The Broncos picked up Chase Edmonds and Jake Martin. Weird little roundabout Seahawks thing with Jake Martin there. And so, but yeah, otherwise, I mean, it was the Bills had a couple of players. They got Naheem Hines and Dean Marlowe. The Bears, of course, got AJ Klein, and then had picked up Chase Claypool also at that point. So yeah, it was very, very interesting. So it was an interesting day of trades. Yeah, it was. I don't know that there was any earth-shattering trades except for the Smith trade. I think that one is probably the most impressive. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how all this falls out next year for sure. All right, everybody. So let's move on. I want to go ahead and talk about the NFC South and West. Kate brought up a couple really good points. We were talking earlier today about these two divisions and how, one, unexpectedly competitive they are, and two, how they are completely up for grabs. Kate, both of these divisions fascinate me.
Well, and, with the NFC South, I think I don't know that I expected it to be a competitive division. I expected the Buccaneers to run away with it.
Right.
And they're not, thanks to Tom Brady and his issues. They are, the Falcons at 4-4, Bucs at 3-5, Saints at 3-5, Panthers at 2-6. I don't think we're surprised at the Panthers. I think the biggest surprise is the Buccaneers at 3-5. And then when I go up and look at the West, this has always been a fiercely competitive division, and they're tight. The Seahawks 5-3 though, leading the division. None of us thought that was going to happen. 49ers 4-4, Rams 3-4, Cardinals 3-5. I think it's not just that they're all within just a game or two in the standings. It's that we all thought the Rams were going to run away with the West and that the Bucs were going to run away with the South. Absolutely. And they're going to be lucky to come in second in their divisions. Like it's anybody can win, right? Yeah. It's just, I'm surprised.
You look at, especially like looking at the South, the Falcons, the Atlanta Falcons, this was a team I said was going to win 2 games this year, like 2. And that they are sitting at the top at 4-4. Then the Bucs at 3-5 are tied with the Saints at 3-5. And then the Panthers, but keep in mind, had the Panthers won last week, either last week or the week before, they would have been sitting atop their division. Like that's
Right.
how tight this division was. It was so crazy.
And the Falcons are doing weird things. Like in the Browns game, Mariota completed 7 passes, and they still ran the ball. Like they are doing some really interesting things.
He said it's a Culpepper jersey.
Oh, that's way worse.
Forgot about that.
It's a Culpepper jersey.
Dante Culpepper.
I forgot about that.
Anyway, sorry. I just wanted to answer her question. So,
Yeah.
It is interesting. Sonia, when you look at especially the South,
Mhm.
obviously I think the Bucs are the biggest surprise. Well, I want to talk about the Saints for a minute though, because there was Jameis Winston and there was Andy Dalton. Jameis was injured, obviously, and then Andy Dalton came in. Those two quarterbacks were about as inspiring as what we thought we were getting in Seattle with Geno Smith and Drew Lock. Like you just weren't too excited about either one of them. But both veterans, both had wins under their belt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Andy Dalton is not going to give his job back to Jameis Winston because it seems to me that Andy Dalton is doing exactly what they need him to do to squeak into these wins. But I will tell you that defense has been so impressive. I think the Bucs falling off is less surprising to me than how well Andy Dalton and the Saints are playing.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think that they're playing at such a high level. Well, okay, I won't say such a high level, but at least a higher level than we thought.
Mm-hmm.
And, 24-0 last week. I mean, that was a surprise. And I just think that, we all thought, like we said, that the Bucs were going to run away, but the Saints, I always thought were going to be right there, though. I thought that they weren't, that the Falcons, I think that they were going to be in swapped spots, but I always thought that the Saints were going to be right there, and Andy Dalton's got them there. And, I'm glad. I kind of like the Saints. So, yeah.
I agree. It's really interesting. Lisa, looking at the NFC West, this is a competitive division. These teams have a tendency to beat up on each other. But I think if you look at all of these teams, even as surprising as the Seahawks are, they still have Pete Carroll as their coach. And you know that he's going to do everything he can in order to win a game. But the Rams, I can't decide when watching the Rams if it's just the absolute terrible injury season they've had. I think they're on their third and fourth string linemen at this point. Is it Stafford? Is he having some injury issues? Is he just, beat up from a long season last year? I can't put my finger on it. And now Cooper Kupp has an injury that has him day to day. Is this a Super Bowl hangover? Is there something more easy to diagnose from that? I'm real surprised what's going on with the Rams.
I think with them, I think it's more of player personnel issues of having the players in the right places. I mean, there was rumors that he was really upset about missing out on the McCaffrey because, I think he's another coach that does the plug-in on the one player away kind of guy of getting Matthew some help in the running game and I think that's a huge part of the Rams issue is Stafford can't carry a team, and we know that from Detroit. I mean, he's a good quarterback, but he can only do so much. Right. So you need to, Cooper getting hurt. Definitely, anytime that guy goes out, it's a blow. Mm-hmm. It's sort of like, Burrows without, his Chase.
Jamar Chase.
Yeah. And you saw that Monday night, man, he really missed his little comfort blanket, security blanket going on. So I think that McVay's just looking for players to help Stafford. I don't think Stafford's the issue. I wonder about Stafford's health, though.
Yeah, I think his shoulder. I think there's something wrong.
I think he's hurting. I think the guy's not 100%. So I think that's really hurting him. And I think with, like you said, with McCaffrey, that really is going to that's a blow to that whole division, because I think Sunday was a statement of why they went out and got that guy, why Lynch was so happy on the sidelines after that game. He was high-fiving players, chest bumping with players, because I think they think this is it. That's the plug that they needed to take this division. So it's going to be real interesting. But it makes that division fun now, does it not? Because now we're looking forward to the Seahawks matchup with them. It's like, wow, what's Geno going to bring to the table?
Right.
I keep thinking back to our Pick'em show, and I know Lisa wasn't there, even though she sent her Pick'ems. But the big thing that we talked about with both of these divisions was quarterback play. And nobody thought Geno Smith was going to be the best quarterback in that division. I don't know what happened to Kyler Murray. I didn't think Trey Lance was going to get it. We thought the Panthers would be a player for Garoppolo. We didn't know he would re-sign with the 49ers 2 days before Lance is done for the year. And then you go look at the Panthers. PJ Walker is winning games for them. What happened to Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold and Eason? Like, all we talked about was quarterback play was going to be the deciding factor. Thank you, Jesus, the Taysom Hill at quarterback experiment is over and he's playing tight end or whatever it is he's playing now. But that's how quickly both of these divisions flipped on their heads based on quarterback play.
Right.
Good and bad.
Absolutely. Camden said she knew. Camden knew. Camden knew. I believe it too, actually. There was some Geno lovers out there. That was fair. PJ Walker, did he come from XFL? I love that. I love that story so much.
The thing is when you talk to players, and this is what makes this a little bit of an interesting discussion with Matt Rule. And remember, we were talking about coaches and players and responding. It kind of troubles me that PJ wasn't involved in a quarterback battle because this kid balled, and every single player on that Panther team said that. Matt Rule didn't give this kid a shot. I want to know why he didn't give the kid a shot. And I don't want to go where my head's telling me to go because I don't want to go there.
Ownership,
but it's kind of there.
Ownership spent a lot of money to get Baker Mayfield, even though we're covering 2/3 of his salary. And he and Darnold are both in the last year of their rookie deals. If one of them can pan out, you're going to re-sign him and do something with them. I get that PJ Walker has mad skills, but if either Baker or Darnold played the way we know they're capable of playing, he wouldn't be in the conversation. Right. But between injuries and poor play, he's got his opportunity and he is making the most of it. He is calm, cool, collected. He knows the playbook, and maybe it's better for him that he has not been in the spotlight and under the microscope all this time. That's a good point. And he could just figure out what they're doing and then ride in on his white horse and damn near save the day Sunday. I was almost in tears when they lost in overtime. I was rooting for him.
Me too.
When you talk to the players, the kids always had this. The kids brought it every single game, practice and everything. He just wasn't given a shot.
Fair, but again, we're talking about a coach who's probably coaching for his job right now, is probably concerned about being let go because of their record the last couple of years.
Wait, didn't they already fire him?
These are my quarterbacks.
They already fired him. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I think that I think it does have a little bit to do with media. I think that Kate is right about that, there was so much hype about who gets Baker that maybe that's where they're at. And I don't know. We'll have to see. I get what you're saying though, Lisa, 100%. I totally get what you're saying. So these two divisions are going to be fun to watch. We're going to see. And I have a feeling that whichever of these teams make it to the playoff, we're either the young upstart teams, let's say the Saints, or not young in age, but just like these upstart teams like the Saints or the Falcons, who no one expected anything, or in Seattle, out in Seattle, we had written them all off. If they end up making it to the playoffs, then they might be playoff wreckers a little bit. Some of these other teams, if they might squeak in, let's say Tampa Bay squeaks into the playoffs, or even like the Rams managed to wiggle in. I just don't have as many expectations. And that's because we are now 8 weeks in, and I feel like we know these teams. And these teams are, there's some that are on their way up and some that are on the way down. And it's interesting to find them all here in the middle. So
I forgot. You're right. They fired Roll. Steve Wilkes is running that team. And maybe that played into it as well. Maybe that was one of the first things Steve did was be like, go get me PJ Walker up here.
Exactly. And we can, it was a good decision, sir, for sure. All right, let's move on to our last topic of the day. We want to talk about the Detroit Lions a little bit. So this team was America's favorite team, right? And forget the Cowboys. Man, it was all about the Lions. After the Hard Knocks episodes, we fell in love with that crazy ass coach. But Kate's going to say something.
Two things, same topic. And I know I'm a girl and we don't want to talk about uniforms, but I am not a fan of the Dolphins in white with the Lions in gray. It's almost as bad as the Bears in white. I had trouble on my TV figuring out who was who in some of the piles. You can't wear almost the same color.
Okay.
And the Bears in white is just wrong. That's all I have to say about uniforms.
But I will say this. We are watching this team. We watch the coach. We watch these players. We fell in love with these players. I actually almost liked Jared Goff again, right? Like, that's crazy. But here's the thing. They came kind of shot out of a cannon at the beginning of the season, Sonia. And they have these moments where they play brilliant football and it looks fantastic. And then their defense says, I'm tired. I'm going to go sit down for a little while. Y'all do what you got to do. So it's baffling to me. They have to figure out how to get this team on the same page. Tell me where you're at with your beloved Lions.
With my beloved Lions. It's frustrating. And I think everybody's frustrated because we know that these guys have talent. And we know, I mean, they were the number one offense for a while. They're still number 4 last I checked this afternoon. So, I mean, they still have some talent. But, I mean, Sunday they scored, 21 points. The past 2 days, like, they didn't even score a touchdown. They made field goals, like, in their past 3 games. Like, their offense is just getting shut down. And, you know, you kind of wonder, are they not making adjustments? Is Campbell just, like, not getting it to get, like, is he not in over his head, but is he seeing something that, you know, we're not? I mean, the Patriots game, going for it on 4th and 9, like, I mean, yeah, kicker issues, but 4th and 9, really? Like, you've had 3 tries to go 10 yards.
Jared Goff is your quarterback?
And Jared Goff is the quarterback. I mean, this team is a team in transition, and it seems like it's really, I mean, after trading TJ Hawkinson today, it was just kind of like, and we're done here. You know, it's just, it's play for picks, it's play for that. But it's frustrating. And I think everybody knows that, but it's frustrating. And you kind of wonder, which team are we going to get? Which team are we going to see?
Right. I feel like I'm glad they are continuing with their head coach. I think consistency is going to be important there. I don't want him fired. I don't think he's on the hot seat. I think that they knew there was a lack of talent there. And they're now maybe saying, okay, enough. Let's just get as many high rounds as we can. I have a feeling that they're going to end up putting some picks together and going after a quarterback. It's the only logical thing that they can do right now. And seeing that, Lisa, when you watched this, the Lions play, they play decent football. There just physical. Seems to be, yes. Oh yes, that is very true.
That well, you know, that first play with you know, Morrison running through and they knocked the tar out of him. I mean, it was like he got a little shaken up. That was the first play. I'm like, oh my God, you know what's going on? Here we go. You know, we're already decimated with injuries. Now you're going to start knocking my guys around and getting them concussions because they're physical. They're a physical team. And that's one of the things I saw right out of the gate. I don't think Miami was prepared for that type of, I mean, Miami was getting pushed around. I'm gonna be honest. It was like they were pushing us all over the place. And I mean, and they were hitting us. I mean, it wasn't like they were just tackling it. There was no soft tackling in the day.
They're chewing on you, biting your kneecaps.
Yeah, they're biting your kneecaps.
God, I'm telling you. And that's the first thing I noticed about them. They're a very, very physical football team. And believe it or not, knocking a running back out with a concussion, that'd be pretty hardcore on some of these teams now. So that's one thing I noticed with them. I think personally, it's adjustments. And I don't think it's Dan Campbell. It's your coaching staff. Your coaching staff has to make adjustments. Now, honestly, Miami this year, under Mike McDaniels, we have been the most consistent team making great adjustments that I've ever seen our team ever do. Is Mike McDaniels constantly, Josh Boyle constantly making adjustments. Because during the end of the third, fourth quarter, we started getting a little pressure on Goff. So because we switched up our defense a little bit, we brought our safeties up a little bit, you know, we started to kind of make those adjustments. I think that's just Detroit's problem. It's all there. I'm sorry. I even text Sonia in the game. I'm sorry. There's no doubting that these guys play physical. It's just down the stretch, and it's been every game this year. They've come out
at the end
firing. It's the end of the game.
It doesn't help that their defense is ranked 31st.
Right.
You know, and I'm looking at the schedule. They put up 35 points against the Eagles, lost by 3. They put up 24 against the Vikings and lost by 4. They put up 45 on the Seahawks, lost by 3. They were at least putting up points. Their defense couldn't stop anybody. And then all of a sudden October comes and you put up 0 against the Patriots, 6 against the Cowboys. It's like, all right, I know the Cowboys have a good defense. It's like something broke in their offense. And they need some defensive help. They need some defensive help. And frankly, getting rid of Hawkinson doesn't really hurt anything. I like Noah Fant coming out of Iowa better than Hawkinson in the draft anyway, and he's had better numbers. And he's got 2 years left on his deal. He was not carrying your offense.
Right.
Let's put it that way. Letting him go to Minnesota, that probably is the best offer they could get for him, is not a big deal. But y'all need some help on that defense.
Right.
Because it doesn't matter if you're scoring the 4th most points in the NFL if you're giving up the 2nd most points in the NFL.
It's absolutely disheartening, is it not? I mean,
it's
25 points, it still say you lost. I mean, and then you have almost a 2-touchdown lead on a lot of the teams going into the halftime, and then you just give it up. So I think
But it makes me, at the same time, as a fan, it would make me somewhat optimistic. Because they can do it, right? They can get there. So they just need to change. And I'm thinking about next year. You have the offensive plan. You put in a little bit better of a quarterback. Maybe I should say more consistent. Jared Goff has great moments, but he's not as consistent as he needs to be. And then you retool that defense. And this next draft has some great defensive pieces in it. You're not going to be that far away if you're only losing these games by 3 points. They're right there. And so it'll be interesting to kind of see what happens to them. The fact that they only have 2 turnovers in the entire season, that is a huge issue. Like that's a huge issue. So I don't know.
I would say I have similar issues with my Browns, and I don't find it heartening at all to know that in 4 of our losses, we had the lead with 2 minutes left. Right. It's frustrating. It's almost like as a parent, when your kid's getting C's and D's and they're better than that. It's like, I know you can do this. Why aren't you doing it? It's the same way with our football team. It's more frustrating when they can do it and they're not doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess I'm just thinking about going into next season. I guess it kind of done, but for this season, yeah.
So then you need to have the conversations about leadership, front office, and coaching. Is the coach not getting the most out of these players? Right. Why are these players not giving him 60 minutes? Where is the disconnect?
Is this the defensive coach you want to take next season? I mean, you have to start thinking that some of that heat is on defensive coach. Got to.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. All right, we have one more episode, one more thing, but I forgot to get it, so I'm gonna go grab it. Talk amongst yourself, people. I get the hat.
Okay. I still say, like I told Sonia, I still think, like I said, I thought that they look at this. Look at that. That's throwing shade on me. Listen, just because I'm talking about my Dolphins winning against the Lions, you don't have to throw shade on me with donkeys.
Look at how speedy I am. See?
You're very speedy.
It was just right in the closet. All right, here's the hat, you guys. As you know, the hat game we play. Here is... We pull a name out of the hat. It does not matter what team. All 32 were in there. We're getting down. We're getting down there. We've been playing this all season. Yeah. We have to tell you, no matter what team it is that I pull out of this hat, you have to tell me why they are going to the Super Bowl. They don't have to win the Super Bowl. They're going to the Super Bowl. Doesn't matter what team it is. Doesn't matter how bad they are. You have to find a reason that they will go to the Super Bowl. Lisa, I'm going to go with Sonia first.
Okay. Do I get an easy one again?
Probably. The Raiders.
Ooh, oh God.
Finally. She's gotten the Chiefs. She got the Bills. She got the Dolphins. It's like, shut up. Give me a hard team. Okay.
Oof,
the Raiders.
This is a tough team.
Yeah.
The Raiders. Oh. Why are they going to the Super Bowl? Where's the Super Bowl this year? Is it in Vegas? Let's say that's the only reason why.
We just lost all our Raider viewers.
We did, didn't we?
Listen, Hunter Renfro's back from injury. They've been slumping while he's been hurt. I'll defend the Raiders.
I was about
you
to
can't
say
defend that Sunday game, though, can you?
No, but they're still winning the division. I got hope.
Okay, yeah, they're just going because Hunter Renfro came back, and it all magic. And you know what? They love Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels is going to be able to put it all together and make it happen. That's why they're going.
Now we're moving. Now we're cooking.
Right. He's going to Belichick it. Figure it out. All right. The Titans, Lisa. The Titans.
Oh,
hey, listen, they're on like a 5-game win streak or something, aren't they?
Derrick Henry. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not even going to go into the quarterback issues. I'm just going to say 2 words. Derrick Henry.
Well, that's kind of easy. All right. Lisa got an easy one. All right. Kate, you ready?
Yeah.
Close to the bottom. The Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, yes. Yes.
We got all the easy ones done already. They're all hard now.
I've had some brutal ones. I know the Jaguars are on a 5-game losing streak, but they can't lose all of them, right? Like that's been done before. Sunshine is having a better season. And who did the Jacksonville Jaguars just get in a trade?
Calvin Ridley.
Next year.
Calvin Ridley.
Next
year. He can't play this year. They're going to put stuff on the bulletin boards to motivate all the wide receivers that are currently on their roster that says, listen, you need to secure your job now before Calvin comes in here and runs away with this team. And so that is going to motivate Pryor and Zay and all the other catchers in that locker room to step up their game and to provide the support that Sunshine needs. And that's going to carry them through this pitiful division. They're going to get past the Colts. That'll be easy. The Titans are going to give them a hard time, but I'm telling you what, I believe in Sunshine.
All right. For those of you who don't know, our dear friend Michelle, who joins us on the podcast every once in a while, she does call Trevor Lawrence Sunshine. She also calls Jimmy Garoppolo gorgeous. So if you get confused, that's what they're doing.
And Dakota.
And Dakota.
Oh, yes. Dakota.
If you don't know why we call him Sunshine, go watch the movie The Replacements.
Yes.
No, not The Replace. Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans.
Oh, yes.
All right.
Yes.
My 2 favorite football movies, and I don't know why I confused them because they couldn't be more different.
Jesus Christ.
What you got?
This is not fair. How
Cardinals?
many draft teams have I had? The Texans.
Oh, God.
I have the Texans. You know why? Because I believe in Lovie Smith. I love Lovie Smith as a coach. I loved him when he was Chicago. I love him now. I think he's a fantastic coach. I think he has a whole bunch of holes and a whole bunch of problems with talent. But you know what? Little Mr. Davis, he could turn out to just start rocking it really good, right? And they kept Brandon Cooks today. They didn't get rid of Brandon Cooks.
Yep.
And so they're going to hold on him. And they have
keep going, Dana. Keep going.
They have a fantastic rookie running back in Pierce. I love that kid. He's so fun. So yeah, I'm telling you right now that the Texans absolutely are going to the Super Bowl because they're going to get on a hot streak in November and December with all that unknown talent and talent we just haven't discovered yet. And by God, they're going to win their division. And they're going to streak right through and meet the Bills in the AFC Championship and miraculously run the ball down their throat. Yep, that's what I'm saying. I'm sticking to it. There you are then. The Texans.
And I will say this. I don't know that we've ever had 3 teams from the hat in the same division before.
Oh, and I totally pulled them out of the hat and not,
They were 3 of our 4 teams were all in the same division.
And all of them are going to the Super Bowl. That's amazing.
Yes.
Very
it's going to be tough, but it can happen.
Very impressive. Before we close everything down tonight, we did want to give one little shout out. Adam Zimmer passed away was it just this morning or was it last night?
This morning.
It was announced this morning.
Yeah, they announced it this morning. He was obviously a coach in Minnesota. But he was all over the place. The Saints put something out. I'm not sure if it was the Ravens, but there was multiple teams who put things out. He had been on their coaching staff, just 38 years old or something, very, very young. And we're very, want to give our love to his family and to his friends and to everyone who.
Is that Mike Zimmer's son?
Yes. Mike Zimmer's son.
And he was coaching for the Bengals. Like they showed him.
I was about to say, they were. It was like his.
He was quite the up and comer. Yeah. So that's horribly sad. So our thoughts come out to them for sure. So, all right, everyone. Wait, Graham. We do not drink before our segments. Graham says, anyone tuning in just to hear the segment thinking it's y'all drink too much. We are stone cold sober and the Texans are going to the Super Bowl. Anyway. All right, everyone.
I'm going to drink a lot more if you don't change that jersey.
All right, everyone. Well, I am out the next 2 weeks. I will be heading over to Germany for the Seahawks Tampa Bay game. I'm very excited for that trip.
Oh, that's gonna be
so
fun.
you will get the joy of these three, and then our good friend Michelle is going to be in for a couple of weeks, and then again our friend Wanda, who you guys have seen, who's a great reporter and a huge Bears fan. She's going to join us at the end of the month, so that'll be super fun. So stay tuned for that. So we hope everyone has a great week. We hope that do not forget to check your bye weeks. I played someone in fantasy football, did not check their bye weeks, and it did not turn out well for them. So make sure.
I played someone this week who had 3 Kansas City Chiefs in his lineup.
Oh, dear.
And he still beat me by 20 points.
Oh, God.
That's how bad my team was this week. I was like, I should call and tell him. You know what? No, I'm taking the easy win. Didn't matter.
Welcome to fantasy football. All right, everyone. We will see you next Tuesday. I hope everyone has a great week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.